Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, Viksit Bharat at 2047. As part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating Zero Discrimination Day. On Zero Discrimination Day, it is 1st March, Yeah, today we are commemorating Zero Discrimination Day on 1st March as we celebrate the right of everyone to live in a full and productive life and live it with dignity. Zero Discrimination Day highlights how people can become informed about the inform about and promote inclusion, compassion, peace, and above all, a moment for change. A movement for change. Zero Discrimination Day is helping to create a global movement of solidarity to end all forms of discrimination. This year, the theme is We Stand Together, that for 2025. So, communication is essential in communities. Communities are essential to the sustainability of the HIV response and the broader global health efforts, and they remain steadfast committed to their mission, ensuring that all people living with and affected by HIV are treated with dignity and respect. However, for more than 40 years, communities have faced adversity, stigma, discrimination, criminalization, funding cuts, and political backlash, despite their primary role ensuring that health services reach all in need, including the most vulnerable population. For this reason, on this year, Zero Discrimination Day, UNAIDS calls on countries, donors, and partners to fulfill their commitments to support communities as they work to build sustainable HIV responses by ensuring community led organizations are able to deliver life saving services and advocate without discrimination or harassment. Community led organizations can legally be registered in the country they are working in and can receive sustainable funding. Communities are supported in providing health services to vulnerable and marginalized groups. Communities are supported and funded in work to monitor respect for human rights, including ending criminalization of key populations, stigma and discrimination, and gender inequalities. Government health services include community representations with their structure as partners in the development and implementation and monitoring of health programs to ensure they are accessible and acceptable to people living with HIV and key populations. Communities of people living with at risk of or affected by HIV are on the front lines of progress in the HIV response. Communities both provide and connect people with person centered health services, build trust, innovate, monitor implementation of policies and services, and hold providers accountable for human rights violations. There is clear evidence of community led impact on sustainability of the HIV response. Nonetheless, community led responses are too often unrecognized, unresourced, and in some places even under attack. Crackdowns on civil society and on the human rights of marginalized communities are obstructing communities from providing HIV prevention and treatment services. Underfunding of community led initiatives is leaving them struggling to continue operating and holding them back from expansion. If these obstacles are removed, community led organizations can add even greater impetus to end AIDS. To meet 2030 HIV target, sustainable investment in community led responses is crucial. The current crisis caused by the shift in US funding has resulted in deep anxiety and pain for the many as the future of life saving HIV medicine, services, and programs, including community led prevention, treatment, care, and support, is under threat. So, this is a crucial moment to commend the commitment of the 41 countries and numerous partners who have united under the Global Partnership for Action to eliminate HIV related stigma and discrimination. So, with the critical engagement and leadership of community partners, this initiative has been instrumental in accelerating the removal of systemic human rights barriers in inequalities, paving way for a more just and inclusive HIV responses. As we focus on the sustainability of the AIDS response now and into future, this moment demands that we reaffirm our commitment to the community, autonomy, justice, dignity, and healthy. Today is also commemorated as World Seagrass Day with the theme Healthy Seagrass, Healthy Planet. In May 2022, the General Assembly adopted this day 76 by 265, proclaiming 1st March as World Seagrass Day. The resolution highlights the urgent need to raise awareness at all levels and to promote and facilitate actions for the conservation of seagrass in order to contribute to their health and development, bearing in mind that enhancing ecosystem services and functions is important for the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. So seagrass meadows exist in 159 countries on 6 continents covering 3 lakh square kilometers, making them one of the most widespread coastal habitats on Earth. Almost 30% of the global seagrass area has been lost since the late 19th century, and at least 22% of the world's 72 seagrass species are in decline. Seagrasses are a part of marine ecosystems, store up to 18% of the world's oceanic carbon. Conserving the restoring seagrass meadows can help countries achieve 26 targets and indicators associated with 10 Sustainable Development Goals. So seagrass are marine flowering plants that are found in shallow waters in many parts of the world, from the tropics to the Arctic Circle. They form extensive underwater meadows, creating complex, highly productive, and biologically rich habitats. Covering only 0.1% of the ocean floor, these seagrass meadows provide food and shelter to thousands of species of fish, seahorses, turtles, etc., and to sustain some of the world's largest fisheries. They improve water quality by filtering, cycling, and storing nutrients and pollutants, reducing contamination in seafood. Highly efficient carbon sinks, they can store up to 18% of the world's oceanic carbon, making them a powerful nature-based solutions to tackle climate change impacts because they buffer ocean acidification. They contribute to the resilience of the most vulnerable ecosystems and species such as coastal reef, coral reefs, and to the coastal populations, they act as the first line of defense along coast by reducing wave energy, protecting people from the increasing risk of floods and storms. So, despite its important contribution to sustainable development and claims climate change mitigation and adaptation, this core component of marine biodiversity is in danger, and only about a quarter of all meadows fall within marine protected areas. Seagrasses have been declining globally since the 1930s, with the most recent census estimating that 7% of this key marine habitat is being lost worldwide per year. It was recently noted that 21% of seagrass species are categorized as near threatened, vulnerable, and endangered species under the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List of Threatened Species. The combined pressures of coastal development, pollution, including land-based runoff, climate change, dredging, and unregulated fishing and boating activities are the key drivers of the degradation of seagrasses and their associated ecosystems. Despite a general global trend of seagrass loss, some areas have shown abating declines or substantial recovery of seagrasses. The recoveries can often be attributed to the human interventions, reducing the effect of human caused stresses. Seagrass are critical for life underwater, but also provide wide ranging, ranging benefits to the people on land, raising awareness about the importance of community well being, whether through food security from fish production, improved quality of water filtered by seagrass, protection of coasts from erosion, storms, and floods, or carbon sequestration and storage will drive efforts along the world to conserve better, manage, and restore these ecosystems. Ultimately, the protection and restoration of seagrass meadows will help countries achieve multiple economic, societal, nutritional objectives, aligning and supported by policies implemented at the national, regional, or global levels. For example, the benefits from conserving and restoring seagrass meadows can also help countries achieve 26 targets and indicators associated with the 10 Sustainable Development Goals. Given the carbon storage and sequestration capacity of seagrass ecosystems, including them in nationally determined contributions, NDCs can help nations achieve their targets under the Paris Agreement and the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. Inclusion of seagrass ecosystems in the post 2020 Global Biodiversity Framework and the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, is also critical for protecting the integrity of marine ecosystems and biodiversity. So, restoration of seagrass also provides countries with opportunities to achieve commitments to be made to the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. Inclusion of seagrass management, conservation, and restoration should be a critical component of sustainable blue economy strategies in the future. Projects are already underway in various countries, and a few have been selected as World Restoration Flagship Initiatives. Chosen and best examples of large scale and long term ecosystem restoration, these projects embody the 10 restoration principles of the United Nations Decade of Ecosystem Restoration. Rising temperatures increase the risk of irreversible loss of marine and coastal ecosystems. Today, widespread changes have been observed, including the damage of coral reefs, mangroves, seagrass that support ocean life, and migration of species to higher altitudes and latitudes where the water could be cooler. Here are some reasons where we can safeguard the ocean as our best of ally for climate solutions. So this year, before getting into solutions, the first Asian regional dialogue on seagrass and dugong conservation on 20 and 21st February brought together key experts, policymakers, and conservation practitioners to discuss innovative approaches, identify gaps, and develop actionable strategies for the protection and restoration of seagrass ecosystems and associated outgoing dugong populations. Seagrass are one of the most widespread coastal habitats on the planet. They provide a range of environment, economic, and social benefits to humans, making them one of the most valuable coastal and marine ecosystems on Earth. But they are under threat. The report, Out of the Blue, The Value of Seagrasses to the Environment and to the People by UNEP, provides recommendations to help restore them. The ocean generates 50% of oxygen we need, absorbs 25% of all carbon dioxide emissions, and captures 90% of the excess heat generated by these emissions. It's not just the lungs of the planet, but also its largest carbon sink, a vital buffer against the impacts of climate change. The ocean is central to reducing global greenhouse gas emissions and stabilizing the Earth's climate change. However, increasing greenhouse gas emissions have affected the health of the ocean, warming and acidifying seawater, causing detrimental changes to life underwater and on land, and reducing the ocean's ability to absorb carbon dioxide and safeguard life on the planet. Ocean habitats such as seagrasses and mangroves, along with their associated food webs, can sequester carbon dioxide from the atmosphere at rates up to 4 times higher than terrestrial forests can. Their ability to capture and store carbon make mangroves highly valuable in the fight against climate change. Mangroves are some of the most carbon-rich ecosystems on the planet, storing on average 1,000 tons of carbon per hectare in their biomass and underlying soils. In addition, these ecosystems also support healthy fisheries, improve water quality, and provide coastal protection against floods and storms. Coral reefs are among the most ecologically and economically viable ecosystems in our planet, covering less than 0.1% of the world's ocean. They support over 25% of marine biodiversity and serve up to a billion people with coastal protection, fisheries, source of medicines, recreational benefits, and tourism revenues. Marine protected areas, areas of the ocean set aside for long-term conservation, aims offer one of the best options to maintain the ocean's health. Today, marine protected areas cover 6.35% of the ocean, almost 10 times as much as 2000. As in, further expanding these areas is critical for protecting corals, reefs, and mangroves and maintaining the ocean's climate change resilience. The ocean is an incredible source of renewable energy. Offshore wind and ocean energy derived from natural sources such as wind, water, and tides that don't emit carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases that contribute to the global warming. Offshore wind power is generated by the airflow through wind turbines that mechanically turn electric generation. Electric generators, wind energy technology, which has been used for a millennia, has evolved over the last few years to maximize the electricity produced. Wind power could cover more than one-third of the global power needs, becoming the world's foremost energy source. Denmark was the first country in the world to build an offshore wind farm. Ocean energy systems use the kinetic and thermal energy of seawater, waves, or currents, for instance, to produce electricity or heat. Ocean energy systems are still an early stage of development, with a number of prototype wave and tidal current devices being explored. Ocean energy has the potential to easily exceed present human energy requirements. Approximately 80% of the worldwide trade is transported by maritime shipping, which accounts for nearly 3% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. Reducing the CO2 emissions of ships to zero by 2050 is crucial in the fight against climate change. This means moving away from traditional fossil fuels to new zero emission energy sources such as hydrogen, ammonia, methanol, or wind. Green shipping corridors, maritime routes between two ports that support zero emissions technologies for ships are on the way to accelerate the decarbonization of the shipping sector. Green corridors are already in place across the Pacific between the ports of Los Angeles and Shanghai, and across the Atlantic between the ports of Antwerp, and Montreal. By investing in new technologies and making sustainable alternative fuels increasingly competitive, the decarbonization of the shipping sector can be an engine for green development across the world. Green shipping is an important part of a sustainable blue economy and one that promises economic growth and people's well being through sound production, trade, and shipping practices without impairing the health of our ocean. More than 680 million people, nearly 10% of the global population, live in low lying coastal zones, bearing the brunt of climate change. Highly vulnerable communities in low lying areas, including small islands, are 15 times more likely to be killed by the floods and storms compared to regions with very low vulnerability. Ocean climate action must reduce these impacts and build resilience for ecosystems and coastal communication communities dependent upon a healthy ocean. The, that would include adaptation measures that predict risks, vulnerabilities, and solutions, including early warning systems and sustainable nature based solutions to help communities cope up with changing coastlines and ecosystems. Early warning systems empowering individuals and communities to respond to hazards in timely and appropriate manner can save countless lives and livelihoods that are threatened by climate related disasters. In fact, just a 24-hour warning can reduce the ensuing damage by 30%. Today, one third of the world's people, mainly in least developed countries and small island developing states, are still not covered by the early warning systems. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has tasked the World Meteorological Organization to lead an effort to ensure that within the next 5 years, everyone on Earth is protected by early warning systems against increasingly extreme weather and climate change. Today, we also have a lot of other commemorations. Today, we are commemorating International Women's Week from March 1st to 4th. International Women's Week is celebrated worldwide from first Saturday to March, leading to International Women's Day on March 8th. So this year it takes place from March 1st to 4th, continues till 8th. While International Women's Day has been globally observed since the 1900s, over time, the need was felt to devote a week to accommodate the multitude of events dedicated to the concept. The week is set to celebrate women and their role in society, as well as how far they have come in fighting for equal opportunities. Let us celebrate women by educating gender bases and accepting them as an equal half in the society. Some of the ways business, organizations, and people are addressing inequality is through introducing equality in their hiring practices, and providing resources to enter previously male-dominated fields and initiating celebrations like this. It's not surprising that the women worldwide are underpaid and underrepresented in this society. Although they work as hard as men, women are more vulnerable and susceptible to physical and sexual abuse in their domestic or work settings. The imbalance will continue if the world does not come together and to end age old practices that accentuate gender bias and put women in an inferior position. In the 1970s, the United Nations formalized the endeavors worldwide by passing a resolution to dedicate a day to create awareness and educating the world about women's rights. Subsequently, in the 1980s, when the day gained in popularity, it was expanded to include a whole week of activities at the beginning of March, leading into IWD. So, the International Women's Week attempts to spread awareness about the five critical aspects of women's lives worldwide: creating and enjoying happy relationships, self knowledge, dealing with sexual and interpersonal violence, forming a positive self image, and leadership development. Today is also commemorated as Universal Human Beings Week, which is celebrated every March 1st to 7th, is an annual observance commemorated in different parts of the world. It is aimed at various things, such as reminding us to reset and renew our sense of purpose, key into our true essence, and get rid ourselves of hardened exteriors. We are also reminded to embrace love and unity, foster human rights promotion, and make the world a better place, founded by the International Society of Friendship and Goodwill. It urges us to break free of the shackles of individualistic and materialistic dictates and truly go back to the base. It reminds us to take positive, impactful actions to serve and foster the good of humanity. The Universal Human Beings Week is observed to celebrate the value of humanity and to give importance to the human and spiritual rather than to material values of life. It thus tries to get a focus away from the rat race and more to what is really important to mankind. It also focuses on unity between all their all people despite all their differences. Love, art, history, and music are all focused on celebrating the common humanity of man. Kindness is also emphasized. The Universal Human Beings Week, a brainchild of the International Society of Friendship and Goodwill, ISFGW, founded by Dr. Stanley J. Drake in 1978, helps remind us to break free of dividing factors such as politics and religion. It also asks to realign our focus amidst the quest for financial freedom, preaching love, peace, progress, and the advancement of humanity. Today is also commemorated as International Ideas Month, which takes place in March every year, encourages people to recognize the potential of their ideas. The ideas of, well, an idea seems simple and most fade before they even take off, but change and innovation all begin with something simple. Some of the most impressive inventions of the modern world started with an idea. Gadgets and devices such as smartphones are complex and did not spring up overnight. Today is also commemorated as International Mattisser, which takes place in Romania every year at the beginning of spring on March 1st. Mattisser has become a symbol of friendship, appreciation, respect, and love, giving people the talisman called Mattis or March, a red and a white little mascot with a hanging tassel is an old custom in Romania. It is believed that the wearer will be strong and healthy for the year to come. Both men and women wear it pinned to their clothes, close to heart, until the last day of March, when they tie it to a fruit tree twig. Today is also commemorated as International Women of Color Day on March 1st every year. It was founded by the National Institute for Women of Color or the NIWC, which has since become inactive. The objective of this day is to celebrate the contributions and achievements of diverse women of color. We honor their supporters as well. The day was first celebrated in Washington, D.C. The day is a reminder that all contributions made by women of color will be recognized and given fair judgment. It is celebrated in the US and is a global event happening all over the world. Today is also commemorated as World Compliment Day to create a global initiative to create the most positive day in the world. World Compliment Day is celebrated every March 1st to spread joy through simple verbal affirmations of appreciation with less focus on providing material representations of appreciation. This day is meant to cost absolutely nothing at all, so everyone can participate. Giving a compliment is easy, whether it's telling someone you like their shoes or letting them know they are doing a great job, whatever it is, it can change someone's whole day around. So this day is a reminder to vocalize your positive thoughts and watch them light up on a room. Today is also commemorated as World Civil Defense Day. On March every year, the world's attention is on civil protection and preparedness. People need to learn how to prevent, prepare for, and manage emergency situations such as accidents and disasters. The day celebrates the honor and prestige of those in civil protection. It calls on more people to learn about safety measures and protection skills they would need in case of any form of emergencies, natural or man-made. A famous Civil Defense Day quote is, "We can only hope for the best as long as we are satisfyingly prepared for the worst." Civil Defense Day is all about raising awareness of the need to plan ahead. World Civil Defense Day was initiated by the International Civil Defense Organization. They conduct its activities every year. The day was created to pay tribute to the efforts of national services responsible for the fight against disasters. It also creates awareness of the need for self-protection and preventive measures in the event of accidents or disasters. The International Civil Defense Organization, or ICDO, has its origins in the Association of Geneva Zones, which was founded by Surgeon General George St. Paul in 1931. After seeing the effects of war on the population, St. Paul wanted to create safety zones where civilians could seek refuge in times of war. Civil defense or civil protection is all about protecting citizens from natural disasters by teaching them to protect themselves through knowledge of prevention, preparation, response, evacuation, and recovery skills. As time went by, the name and objectives of the association were changed to create the International Civil Defense Organization we have today. The ICDO is an intergovernmental organization that ensures the safeguarding of lives, property, and the environment from natural or man-made or human-made disasters. In 1972, the member states of the ICDO approved the current constitution of the organization, which entered into force on March 1st of the same year. Every year, the ICDO selects a theme to guide the activities of the World Civil Defense Day. In 2009, it was Children's Safety, Our Responsibility. In 2022, the theme is Uniting World's Leading Industry Specialists for the Safety and Security of Future Generations. Today is also commemorated as Self-Injury Awareness Day, which is, or in short, known as SIAD, is a global awareness event celebrated on March 1st. It draws attention to self-harm in the hope of helping people who practice it. Almost 2 million Americans engage in self-harm, about 17% of people with self-harm during their lifetime. People who self-harm say that it gives them a feeling of control and release from tension. On Self-Injury Awareness Day, people can share their self-harm stories, which can help them find a community of people who understand and can help overcome it. Mental health organizations also make extra efforts to raise awareness about self-harm and self-injury, with some even offering free therapy sessions on this day. Today is also commemorated as Peace Corps Day in US. It celebrates the volunteers of the Peace Corps program. The program was established by President John F. Kennedy on March 1st, 1961. The mission of the volunteers is to assist underdeveloped countries by using technologies to provide economic and social development. While at the same time promoting world peace and mutual understanding between Americans and the population served. Most of the time, due to their exposure, these volunteers often teaching cross-cultural language, leadership, and community development skills that give them a competitive edge for job opportunities. In today's global economy, many companies recruit returned Peace Corps volunteers as employees. Today is also commemorated as National Pig Day in US, which is a perfect time to celebrate how much pigs have become part of American culture. We see pigs in art, costumes, stuffed animals, collectibles, piggy banks, movies, books, and of course, on the dinner table. Pigs have lived throughout the country on farms and in zoos for many years, and even our homes as pets. It's only fitting to have a day dedicated to this easily recognizable, endearing creature and learn more about how they are part of our culture and history. Today is also commemorated as National Black Women in Jazz and the Arts Day in US, celebrated annually on March 1st, that is dedicated to jazz, fine, visual, performing, and auditory arts in all its glory. The day is specially held on the first day of National Women's History Month because it honors all existing and previous African American female artists only. This day was established by the Georgia organization Black Women in Jazz. Today is also commemorated as Independence Movement Day in South Korea. On March 1st every year, this day marks one of the earliest public displays of Korean resistance. It took place on March 1st, 1919, which gives its name Samuel Joel 3-1 movement or March 1st movement. An estimated 2 million people attended peaceful demonstrations to protest Japan's occupation of Korea. The demonstration started in Korea's capital, Seoul, and soon spread to other parts of the country. The Korean Declaration of Independence was read at rally in Tagpole Park. Today is also commemorated as Endometriosis Awareness Day in US. On March 1st, during Endometriosis Awareness Month, endometriosis is an inflammatory condition that occurs in women when tissue starts growing outside the uterus. The tissue is the same as that which lines the womb internally. While there are many studies now on this condition, there is still no cure, and awareness is a huge problem. So this month and day are dedicated to raising awareness and promoting research to find out a cure for endometriosis. They are also aimed at addressing the stigma that comes with endometriosis in the form of infertility. So the Endometriosis Association initiated Endometriosis Awareness Month in 1993. What started as a small-scale campaign is observed worldwide today. These campaigns include fundraisers, educational activities, and marches. The Endometriosis Association promotes the cause by providing information and support to those with condition and by distributing yellow ribbons. Endometriosis affects 1 of 10 women in the US and an estimated 200 million women globally. Despite these startling numbers, there is not much awareness of it, and the condition is often misdiagnosed. According to the Endometriosis Foundation of America, a lack of awareness and education is on the disease is a big way hurdle towards detection. Symptoms of the condition include painful period cycles, abdominal pain, cycle irregularities, and excess pain during intercourse. These symptoms are often misdiagnosed, though the efforts of participating organizations, the medical community, and civil society, more people are learning about a condition through them. However, there is still a need for better understanding, particularly about early diagnosis and treatment. Today is also commemorated as the Earth God's birthday, which falls on the 5th in Taiwan, which falls on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month as per Chinese calendar and is chiefly celebrated in Taiwan. This year it falls on March 1st. The Earth God, also known as Tudi Gong or Tudi Shen, is among various earth deities of Taoism. Here is the Lord of the soil and the ground. Tudi Gong is known for his generosity, which is why many devotees visit temples dedicated to him on his birthday to seek his blessings. The devotees worship Tudi Gong by lighting incense sticks and offering food and flowers. It is believed that Tudi Gong's benediction brings harmony and abundance to a community. Today is also commemorated as Baby Sleep Day. On March 1st is a day set aside to emphasize importance of sleep to a baby as well as family members in general. An initiative of the Pediatric Sleep Council, a term of the International Pediatric Sleep Experts, Baby Sleep Day launches its global awareness campaign, spreading the word about the amazing benefits of healthy sleep. They ultimately set out to prevent sleep problems before they arise. Sleep is super important to our physical and mental health well-being. In 2021, 30 countries celebrated baby sleep, showing how significant the topic is. Today is also commemorated as Asiatic Fleet Memorial in US. Every year on March 1st, in 1942, USS Houston, a vessel part of Asiatic Fleet, was sunk by the Japanese, in which Americans lost their lives. On the 60th anniversary of the event, former US President George W. Bush proclaimed March 1st as a day dedicated to the Asiatic Fleet as a special tribute to the veterans and those who lost their lives during the war. Central to the day is people gathering at the memorial ceremony to honor the veterans and the ship that was part of the World War II after Pearl Harbor. Today is also commemorated as National Write a Letter of Appreciation Week in US from March 1st to 7th. As social media and technology grow as a quicker and more effective means of communication, handwritten notes appear to be a dying art. A handwritten letter can be more personal, emotional than words on a screen for those who want to express gratitude to those they care about. Letter writing has played an important part in reproduction of writing as art throughout history. In addition to being a medium of communication and a repository of information, National Write a Letter of Appreciation Week encourages people to write a personal message, mail it, and express it gratitude to those who have influenced their life. Today is also commemorated as National Aplastic Anemia and MDS Awareness Week from March 1st to 6th. Every year in US, this day helps raise awareness for aplastic anemia, a potentially fatal disease. People develop aplastic anemia when the bone marrow ceases to produce formal blood elements. It is a disease that leads to 2,000 American deaths each year. Aplastic anemia is also a complication of certain anti-cancer drugs such as anti-inflammatory or anti-convulsant drugs. Furthermore, chemicals like benzene or arsenic and radiation can cause it. In fact, half of the aplastic anemia causes result from unknown causes. Today is also commemorated as Iditarod race in US from March 1st to 16th. Formerly known as Trail Sled Dog Race, begins on the first Saturday of March and continues for about 10 to 14 days. This year, it takes place from March 1st to 16th. A kennel of 12 to 14 northern dogs led by a musher competes in the race. The event is held in sub-zero temperatures and stretches through half the portion of American state of Alaska. The race is a cultural event in the state with competitors from the entire world pouring in to compete and be part of the celebration. Iditarod is a highly competitive and strenuous competition with the winner claiming a $50,000 prize from the state of Alaska. This week is also commemorated as Hearing Awareness Week from March 1st to 7th, which is an annual event that highlights the issues affecting the Australians living with hearing loss. The day is a vital part of the ongoing effort by Government of Australia and its NGOs to improve the issues that people with hearing loss face. 3.5 million Australians aged 15 and over, which represents 22% of its population, have mild to severe hearing issues. An average of 1 in 6 Australians have a hearing disability. The day aims to spread awareness about the positive impact of looking after our hearing health, which contributes to our quality of life, social engagement, career, confidence, and communication. This week is also commemorated as Festival of Owls Week, starting on March 1st, that is first weekend of March, and this year it will be marked from March 1st to 2nd. It is a time set aside to celebrate and share stories of these incredible birds. It is a fun and vibrant day in Houston, Northern America. It is a 3-hour drive southeast of Twin Cities. During the festival, the community of owl enthusiasts engages in a lineup of entertaining and educational activities. So apart from this, we have a lot of commemorations. As this month is also commemorated as Social Work Month, Spiritual Wellness Month, Veggie Month, Women's Month, Workplace Eye Wellness Month, and so many are there. Because of time constraints, we are not getting in. And in coming days, we will look at various of these options. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us. In coming days, we are going to have Women's Day celebration on March 8th and 9th, that is Saturday and Sunday. Girls and women from across the world, from any country or any place, can nominate themselves or others to share your experience on that day, and they will be honored with an award on occasion of International Women's Day. There is no registration fees or charges on that day. The only requirement is your enthusiasm, and you should have genuinely contributed to the society or community or the nation. So we request everyone to quickly send their nominations at their earliest. The feedback form has been shared in the form of polls. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form before leaving the platform. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. Take care. Good night.